What's up? Who's on here? Steve Sharp from the Big Island of Hawaii? No, that's not you. What's up, Steve? I gotta bring this down. I haven't streamed in a while. There it is. Nice. Smooth fade down. Hitting the ending post. What a tremendous finish. Yeah. Damn it. All right, stop it. There you go. Very strange. What's up? Fantastic finish. The Phillies game, 1-0, just like we drew it up. Aaron Nola carries the Phillies with 6 shutout innings, and the bullpen shuts the door after that. Phillies beat the Mets. Really important series for a lot of different reasons. They're up 7 games. The Mets swept them last time, but they're up 7 games. The Phillies are winning the division, but don't even give the Mets any reason to think they can come back and they can sink the Phillies, who lose Trey Turner probably for the rest of the regular season, or lose them for the rest of the regular season. Win the first game of a 4-game series, and you win the first game, takes the edge off of everything. Nobody's calling in tomorrow. The Mets win tonight. People are calling in sports radio pissed. So it's like, all right, so the Mets are your daddy, right? So thank God. And it was just like I said, just like we drew it up, Aaron Nola, 6 innings. Duran, even though he goes second and third, it's still like, all right, you just need swings and misses, you need strikeouts. And like that last at bat, that wasn't even close to the plate, and he threw 2 in a row, swing and a miss, struck him out. Phillies win. They up 8 games now over the Phillies or over the Mets. And we can't have that many to play, right? By the way, I apologize because not doing a daily show. I haven't done a daily show in a month and a half. I think the 22nd or the 23rd of July was the last PHLY show I did. And I really haven't streamed, and that's been on purpose the last couple of weeks. I'm just trying to get stuff set and everything else. I don't want to say something stupid on YouTube. So I'm really I've been watching Phillies games, but I have not been following them like I would if I was doing a 5-day-a-week show. So I know Trey Turner's injured. I know they made a bunch of roster moves today. Otto Kemp is back. Some other guy that I never even heard of before, they called up today. And it's like, oh, they signed him back at the end of July. Yeah, from Pittsburgh. So he's back. Like the bullpen, you feel they're just one reliever to where I'd be really confident right now with Duran. Strom's looked good recently. Robertson's looked good. Kirkering, I feel like in any high leverage situation, his ERA is 100. Right? Did anybody else feel like that? And maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But I don't know. So that's the Phillies. They get a win. But enough of the Phillies. Here's the big story on John Marks' spot tonight. And it's Tank Bigsby, running back from the Jaguars, being acquired by the Eagles for a 5th round and the 6th round pick next year. Is it 2025 or 2026? I apologize. Well, it wouldn't be 2025. We're in 2025. See that? 2026. A 5th and a 6th. The Eagles have a lot of extra draft picks. And abso-freaking-lutely, yes, great job, Howie Roseman. Tank Bigsby, he's not a joke. He's no stiff. He's 24 years old. He's got fresh legs. He was really good last year. And I know this because I drafted Travis Etienne, and Bigsby was getting carries over him. Now, Etienne is a home run hitter, and he's the dynamic back, and you saw that. And they drafted another guy who is actually on my fantasy team right now, Tootin, I think. I don't even know his name yet, but so they have an abundance of backs, and the Eagles obviously didn't feel great about their backfield depth. And by the way, neither did I. So Will Shipley, is there an injury? How worried are they about the injury? AJ Dillon, I think of it this way, right? If Saquon Barkley goes down with an injury, you can't have that reason you're losing games or your season's effed. A running back last year was a huge part of this team without a doubt, But if you lose Saquon for 3 or 4 games, you have to be able to run the football. The entire offense is set up by the run. And if that goes away, Jalen can pass when he needs to pass. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when you are predictable that you're going to be throwing the ball, that's not when Jalen Hurts is at his best. So I love this trade. And what does it mean for the other 2 backs? I don't really care, right? If that means that A.J. Dillon's getting cut, which may happen, or they just want 4 running backs, which is totally fine. You have to look at it to where if Saquon Barkley's not healthy for an entire season, which he really look at his stats, look at how many games he normally misses, especially after coming off last season, especially not wanting to run him into the ground with so many carries a game, having a competent backup that he's not your 1A, but he can come in and get you 8 carries a game to where he doesn't mind some contact and he's a tough runner inside the tackles. I love it. I do. Howie Roseman, bang. Like a 5th and a 6th round draft pick. It's awesome. Absolutely love it. So, this is, and we'll talk more about the team in a second, but that was just, I guess you can never be surprised with what Howie Roseman and company do. And I like the fact I love in-season trades. I like trades. Remember when baseball used to have trades? I remember some of those memorable trades for the Phillies, obviously a different sport, but they traded for John Kruk. They traded for Roger McDowell. They traded for Lenny Dykstra. They traded for Kurt Schilling. Baseball used to be a trading sport and not just at the deadline. A lot of those trades were made earlier in the year. Juan Samuel, and he got traded to the Mets. Roger McDowell and Lenny Dykstra came down. I don't think that was anywhere near the trade deadline. I think that was early. These general managers would look at their team and say, nah, I don't like this. And they would make a trade. So I love the fact that the NFL trades a little bit more. And good for Howie, man. Getting a guy in there that, you know what? I did not like the running back depth as it stood right there. So there we go. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you for reposting the stream, Clay Burke. I appreciate it. A lot of questions are coming in hot and heavy about the rumors of me reemerging on the radio. I don't have any comment on that right now, other than to say that it might be something that happens. We'll see. Hopefully, it happens sooner than later. But keep your eye out for it. Otherwise, when I say I have no comment, it means I'll keep talking, and which is why I haven't been streaming the last couple of weeks, because I don't want to get myself in trouble. But yeah, so there's that. And I'm gonna go on YouTube maybe tomorrow night. A lot of times on Wednesday nights I go on with Delco Steve. Just haven't done it in a couple weeks, but yeah. So that's to answer that question right there. So like I said, I haven't been following the Eagles. Just first game of the Eagles season. I watched all the games yesterday mostly on Red Zone, but I watched all the NFL games. I watched the game last night. I would be watching the game right now, but I'm doing this and I was watching the Phillies. But so I saw a tweet by Sean Bernard, who he's a freelancer for Crossing Broad. He's like a big Sixers guy. I think he does stuff with Sean Brace on The Gambler, Sean. And like he's some of these guys on Twitter, they're just like, they're always tweeting and they always have something, and he's always got something. So he's annoying too with the 76ers. And I told him this. He's very annoying with the 76ers because I am not a positive 76er guy, but Sean is. Anyway, he puts the following. I got to find it real fast. He says something to the effect of like, oh, here we go. For all the takes Thursday night of the Eagles are not good enough to repeat this year, they need more. I hope you watch the rest of the NFC play football today. So in other words, and again, like, I'm not listening to sports radio. I didn't listen to sports radio on Friday. I didn't listen to any sports radio today. Is this like really what are people mad at the Eagles because it wasn't like a dominant performance? They didn't win 34-7. Because like sometimes it's like if you pay too close attention to what people are saying on social media, you have to realize like that's not really real life. Social media is not really real life. Sports radio isn't really. Hang on a second. Sorry, I have this is allergies, man. Mucus buildup. That's attractive. But like, so I don't know without listening to it and knowing it. Like a lot of like you could tell when it's kind of like the majority idiot that has to scream and yell, "They're not going to win. They're not good enough. Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball well enough, and they'll never go." AJ Brown got one catch. I don't know if that was real, right? I don't know. People are gonna have to tell me, because I can't imagine. I'm gonna hide that comment. I can't imagine being a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a Super Bowl and reacting that way after they beat the Cowboys to open the regular season on Thursday Night Football and raise the banner. Didn't they win last night like they won all of last year, which was they just did enough to win the game. They didn't have to dominate. They didn't have to be flashy. A.J. Brown didn't have to have 11 catches for 170 yards. This team values wins over stats. That's not what Thursday night was about. Thursday night was about a Dallas Cowboys team that came in here with a chip on his shoulder, ready to play, that was told, oh, you traded Micah Parsons, you have no shot to win this year. Their over-under for wins before the Micah Parsons trade was 7.5. That Jerry Jones is an idiot. That's true. Their head coach isn't good enough. Their defense is terrible. Dak Prescott blows. Right? Their over-under was 7.5 games, the Cowboys, right? And they came in and they were ready to go. But the Eagles are ready to go too. Their offense was ready to go. And that's what was most impressive to me is they stood there in the first half and they went blow, punch, 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 punch. They took every punch the Cowboys had and they punched back. And then the second half, they won the game. That delay took the wind out of everybody's sails, including me. I had to sit around for an hour. It sucked. Totally ruined the game. Now, I know as a player, you're supposed to come out and rah-rah and let's get going. And sure, there's no excuses. But, I like 11:30 at night, and they just went in for halftime, and they came back out, and then they went back in. So the reality is they needed to get the win, and they got the win. So I don't care if A.J. Brown had -5 catches for -20 yards. They won the game. This team is not about stats. They're about wins. So if you're really debating or you're mad after the Eagles won their first game and you look around the NFL, oh, look at Green Bay. Green Bay's defense would look great. They look great. They did. They look great. It's week 1 of the regular season. The Lions didn't look great. Am I going to tell you the Lions aren't going to be good this year? I'm not going to tell you that. There's a lot of talent on that team. And Dan Campbell, not a great game day coach. They're not falling apart. Right? Green Bay's very good. You're going to have to, Green Bay is going to be one of the top competitors in the NFC. And I'll be shocked if the Eagles aren't right there trying to go back to another Super Bowl with not having an injury. So I like I said, I don't know how real it is. I don't know if this is social media stuff. I don't know if this is sports radio stuff. I don't know. I haven't listened to sports radio pretty much since I left sports radio. I haven't listened to it. So I know that the fake takes and what you have to do, because I did it when I was on the radio. So I know it. I just don't know if it's out there right now. Because guess what? Eagles winning isn't having the phones ring off the hook. And if your show is centered on getting phone calls, then somebody needs to be the contrarian. So if you're going to come on and everybody's going to say, oh, like a good win. That was a good win on Thursday night. And I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't just to play contrarian and have a disingenuous conversation. I don't have to do that. That's not what this format is right now. But you get what I'm saying. I'm done doing that. So if you can't see why that was a good win, that was a really good win. Really good win. And I have zero complaints. And let's see what they do against Kansas City this week. This is a really tough game. And the last time I looked on the BetParx app, the Eagles were favored in the game. So, Jesus Christ, everybody. What's the point of being a fan if you can't enjoy being an Eagles fan right now? Let me tell you something about this Jalen Hurts. This dude, all he's going to do is win. He's going to keep winning. He's going to keep winning. He's going to keep winning. And it's going to piss everybody off because they're not winning the way that they want them to. Because Jalen Hurts doesn't value passing yards and garbage yards. And he values moving the chains and getting touchdowns and scoring points and grinding down a defense. I get it. Sports radio is boring. You can't do sports radio unless somebody's pissed off about something. I'm not doing that anymore. There's no reason to be mad about this. All right? No reason at all. Let's see here. What do we got? It's It's not social and it's not media. Thank you very much, Vince. How is Howard doing? Does anybody watch Howard Eskin's show? His online show that he does. I love Howard. Everybody knows that. People get mad at me when I say it. But AJB says tonight's game stinks. Yep. So let me actually check in on that. 10-6 at halftime. Oh, they're leaving the door open for the Vikings in the second half. So they came out and they scored that touchdown right away. Yeah, Caleb Williams is 13-16 for 112 yards. They're only up by 4. They had the ball a lot. They've ran 31 plays to 17 plays for the Vikings. So having not watched it, because I was more interested in the Phillies game tonight. 10-6 at the half. Yeah, the Vikings, depending on how JJ McCarthy looks, I expect them to be a good team this year as well. Let me see here. What else we got? Let me see. He's got a great lineup of guests for interviews. I'm going through the previous ones now. Who is he talking about? You said sports radio like 70 times in 5 minutes. I love sports radio. Love sports radio. Yeah, so I mean that's where I am with the Eagles. I'm so out of the I need to be the one to be angry and not believe in anything like that. I don't need to be coerced to be pissed when my team loses. So when my team loses, expect me to be pissed when necessary or when I'm pissed. Like the Phillies tonight, I'm watching Duran. I'm ready to throw up. Puts runners on second and third. God, the closer and the relief pitcher, and then it brings flashbacks to the playoffs. Man, it is not fun watching playoff baseball. I mean, it's fun, but I don't want to say anxiety. It's just tough, man. There's nothing like it at all. Nothing like it. Football moves fast, at least. So if you're going to die, it's a nice quick, right? Even if they're just marching down the field, it's a baseball is. I mean, I was watching the Blue Jays comeback in the 93 World Series I got in some Instagram algorithm where I'm getting all these old Phillies highlights. And it was a huge comeback by the Blue Jays. It was really a series. And I just remember watching it as a kid, and it just killed me. And then I watch it as an adult. It's even worse. I don't know. Beasley's going to fire Precedent Steve. I don't know about that. Sixers shopping Kelly Oubre. Yes, who cares? Sorry, if Bayless. OG Wade. I actually talked to OG Wade on the phone today. Do I want to release that? I have other things that I want to talk about with stuff. Let me see what else I have here. Oh no, so we got to get the Phillies Karen. All right. Is this real? So there's times where I'm glad that I'm not doing shows. And then there's times where I wish I was doing shows. And the Phillies Karen story was definitely one of the times I wish I was on the air, because it's just, I don't know. It's fun, man. I didn't see that part live. I was watching the game, but it was kind of in the background. I was watching some college football, but then when you start to see the replays and then you see the additional footage that's out there, and I don't need to pull up the video or whatever, but then you hear Phillies Karen yelling at him. And so you gotta go to, all right. If you're a father with kids and you're at a Phillies game, how would you have reacted to that entire thing? Because I've seen the guy get ripped for going after the home run ball. I've seen the guy get ripped for giving the ball back. I was at a Phillies game, I don't know, maybe in July, and we were in the outfield. I love outfield seats. We were in the second row, right next to the bullpen. So anytime a pitcher's in the bullpen or before the game or at the end of every inning, everybody's yelling for a ball. And I know it's a baseball. It's a $3 baseball, $5 baseball, or whatever. But to a kid, that's a baseball from a Major League Baseball player that's on the field that they watch on TV. So like my girls they love the Phillies. We watch them all the time together. And so we're down there. We went down on a night that Chris Sanchez was pitching, and he warms up in the outfield, like on the warning track. And to see his pregame routine where he zips him from the distance to the mound, and then he's going back. He's pretty much from where the right fielder is all the way over past center field. Like he is throwing them and he throws them on a line and they're fast. The guy's got a great arm, obviously. And like, it was just so cool to see, but they're yelling for a ball. So then we go over to the bullpen and like, so they end up flipping up a ball to my daughter. And then I don't even know who it was like, saw that my middle girl was there and didn't get one. So they flipped one up. So they both got balls and we got a ball for my little girl later, but it's a baseball. I wasn't tackling anybody to get it, but it was a baseball. But I've been at games where there's been home runs. And if there's a loose ball that is not being picked up 5 feet away from me, I'm going to go for it because that's a home run ball. I'm not going to hurt anybody. But if you can't secure it, then and it's underneath a seat, then guess what? That's not your ball. And that's what happened. For this dude to be getting ripped because he saw an opportunity to get a home run ball for his son, he didn't go over there and knock her out of the way. The ball was rolling around on the ground, and I don't know if he picked her hand up or whatever, but he took the ball. Just you know what? I would have done the exact same thing. I would have went over there to get that ball. No doubt about it. So then she freaks out and she comes over and she starts yelling at him. Like, you know what? I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I think, you know what I would have done? The same thing that he did. Because if you look at it from this perspective, he was almost like, first of all, some crazy woman comes up to him and he totally took him by surprise. And then he's like sitting there and she's freaking out on him. Like his reaction is pretty much, all right, fine, bleep you. Here's your ball. Get out of here. Like, fine, take the ball if it's that big of a deal that you're coming over yelling at me and my son. And that was his reaction. It wasn't oh, I'm sorry. It was like, all right, just go away. Get away. Why is this guy getting killed for it? The Phillies Dad. Obviously, Phillies Karen is Phillies Karen. That's not even the debate. It's the reaction to the dad. I heard Ben Davis with Michael Barkhan after the game. Now, this was after, like, this wasn't after thinking about it for a day. This was, they shouldn't have given the ball back. All right, oh yeah, just punch her. Let's just punch her. Shove her down. Say, you know what? Bleep you, woman. Because in the heat of the moment, no one knows how they would react. Maybe you would have said bleep you. Maybe you would have escalated it. That's not the right thing to do. So I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have given her the damn ball and said, just get out of here, you loser. You loser. Because that's what she is. That's my thought on Phillies Karen. And everybody, I mean, God. Yeah, like Vince says, I would have told her to kick rocks. Okay, fine. Guess what? I wouldn't have criticized you. If you would have told her, if you would have been like, hey, you know what? Get out of my face. Go over there. If you would have pointed at her and said, get out of my face, I would have said, good. Screw her. That's what I would have said. Right? But you know what? Like, hey, the kid ends up getting the prize pack from the Marlins. He gets the meet Bader. He gets the meet Dombrowski. He gets the go in the tunnel. Right? Like, it's a great experience for him. Don't criticize the dad. Like, come on, man. Is that really what we've gotten to? It's just have to become political. Now, every Republican has to say that he's a wuss and he's woke and all this other stuff, and he's a wimp and he's soft. No, you know what happened? He said, get the hell out of my face. Here, have the ball, you loser. That's what he said to her. God, man. Yeah, Vince is 6'8". But guess what? You know what? Like, that could happen to any of us at any game. And for her to react like that, like a total lunatic, is there's no debating Phillies Karen. There's not. I've been at games where adults have boxed my kids out for getting a ball or something like that. And, you're kind of like, gee, thanks. It's a little kid. You don't say anything. If someone knocked her, I'd say something like, yo, excuse me. Hit my kid. But just total idiot. Just total idiot. And total idiots out there. I hope by this point that everybody's calmed down. Like, just give the guy a freaking break. All right, it's bad enough that now he's internet famous for another day, and he's getting killed for being a bad dad because he didn't yell at the woman and tell her to F off. Like, how many times did have we seen? There's that video that got resurfaced where the guy, he ran down all the seats and he grabbed the ball and he stood it up in the air and then he handed it to the girl that was behind him. Right? Like, I have no use for a foul ball, home run ball. No use for it at all. I want the kids to have it. But like if there's a loose ball, I'm going to go for it. At least for my kids. Oh my God. But you know what? The act of wanting a ball that bad, what, from Karen? Yeah, from Karen. Like, who cares? Yeah, I even if you wouldn't have given her the ball and you would have told her to F off, that's fine too. I don't know what I would have done in the heat of. I'll give you an example. I was my daughter had a birthday party, and it was a sleepover, but some people didn't sleep over, so that's called a sleep under. So they come and they watch movies and they get popcorn, and then the parents come pick them up late, like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So it's like maybe 8:30, and this is the summer, so it's still light out. And my neighbor over here is like an older guy, and we've always gotten along, but he also has run-ins with every other neighbor. And I just I'm nice to him. I keep my distance, but he's also like weirdly neurotic about doing his lawn. So a dad comes to pick up the daughter, and he goes past my driveway, and because he's like trying to find the house. So he goes past my driveway and he parks like on the street, but like not on my property, like next to the grass on my neighbor's property. And so he comes up to the door and he rings the door, and I come to the door, and I hear the neighbor, I won't say his name, screaming and yelling, "Well, move your car!" And I'm like, Dave. Oh, his name's Dave. Dave, he's picking up his daughter. It's good. Dave, it's all right. He's picking up his daughter. And then I'm like, you better go move your car. So then the dad goes down to move his car. I'm like, just put him in the driveway. I know exactly what I said because I was watching it on the Ring camera. I watched the replay on the Ring camera. So I go, just put it in the driveway. So then he goes down to the car, and my neighbor gets in his face. And it's like, you did that on purpose. So Dave he has two leaf blowers for the grass after he's done doing it. And he uses them like this. So he was mad because he couldn't finish doing something like on the street. It's so insignificant. He could have very easily did something else for 2 minutes. And he gets in his face. And he's like, you did it on purpose. You saw me right down there. And it's like, so I went crazy. Neighbors were texting my wife saying, is everything okay over there? Because that is like complete disrespect for me. Because I'm like, Dave, he's with me. He's picking up his daughter for my daughter's birthday. I got it. It's cool. And now he's barking at me. Oh my God. And I lost it. I didn't physically do anything to him, but like, lucky his wife came outside. I mean, I wasn't going to hit him, but the point is I lost it. And if that would have happened maybe at a different time, I might have just walked down and talked to him calmly and said, dude, what are you doing? Like, come on. And I totally lost it. It was fun to watch on replay. So you never know how you're going to react in any given situation. I might have suplexed the freaking Phillies Karen for all you know. Who knows? But there you go. All right. Dave is not here. But yes. No, and listen, and I take my I like to mow my own lawn. I have a zero cut, but I don't need two leaf blowers to do it. And by the way, like his riding mower shit the bed, and I was letting him use mine. He had 4 cuts that he used my riding mower. I didn't ask for any money. Like he's like, I'll pay you. I'm like, you don't have to give me any money, Dave. Just like get your thing fixed or get a new one. All right. He had 4, right? So it's not like I'm not nice to this guy with whatever. So like, man, just like chill out, man. Yeah, I need to Yoshi goes to bed too early. Otherwise, I'd ask Yoshi to come on. All right, so here's my question. All right, and let's talk about this before we get out of it, because I'm done talking about sports. Yes, that mower, I had to pay it off, man. I had 12 months to pay it off. So I think the last month I had to do like $1,500 or something. Oh man, you have no idea. You the edging is like, I'm not good at art, but I'm very meticulous with things. And man, I'll tell you, I love mowing the lawn. It's awesome. So OG Wade gave me a call on I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday, and I picked it up. And I'm like, OG Wade. And he goes, yeah, he goes, I need some advice. And I'm like, all right, there's some professional advice about, so I'm like, all right, he's got like podcast question or whatever. I'm like, all right, let me call you back later. It was Saturday afternoon. So I'm like, let me call you back later. I didn't call him back. So he called me again tonight, and I'm like, all right. I answered. I'm like, yo, I'm like, no, I didn't answer. I texted him back. I'm like, listen, I'll call you at like 6:30. So I had to get through dinner and everything else or whatever. So I call him back, and OG Wade is furious. I don't know out there who is a daily listener or who caught this on Spike, Ike, and Jack, but I guess OG Wade's producer Justin, Spike ripped him and called him creepy and said a lot of other things about him that weren't nice. And OG Wade was really, really upset about that. So I didn't hear it. I don't know if what he was telling me was totally accurate. I do know Justin, and Justin used to show up to a lot of events over the years. So I know Justin from the perspective of he's a kid that was trying to get in the radio, that used to show up at a lot of our live broadcasts, that used to show up at a lot of events. And he's a really good kid. He's a big fan of sports media and sports radio. And he's just a big fan that's trying to get involved. And Vince said that they were clowning Justin, and he called him a creep and all this. Spike called him a creep or whatever. So let me say this. I like Spike a lot. I consider Spike a friend. I haven't talked to him a lot recently, but he hired me at WIP. He was a great mentor to me at WIP. I don't have a bad word to say about Spike or anybody at WIP. I love everybody at WIP. Everybody at WIP was great to me. No doubt. No joke. Clowning somebody on the air that's a fan of your show that you might find creepy because he's showing up to broadcast or things like that. Justin, that's the other thing is Justin is OG Wade's producer. So when I've went on OG Wade's show, Justin's the producer because he likes to be involved. And OG Wade, OG Wade's being a good dude by having him on. He does a lot for OG Wade. It's actually pretty cool. Before taking shots at somebody that you really don't know, and if it did come off as creepy to Spike, I think you need to, dig a little bit deeper and realize kind of what you're saying to somebody that is ultimately a fan of your show and has feelings too, and is a person. I'm comfortable saying this. Justin is on the autism spectrum. I don't know, I being in radio, you meet a lot of people, including Ben Livingston, who had Asperger's. My old producer, he had Asperger's. He was diagnosed with it. And he was great. But if you meet Justin, you like Justin, but he's on the spectrum, and he's awesome, and he's a great kid, and he's a good kid. And to clown him and to call him a creep, I get it. And this is what I tried to explain this to OG Wade. I understand what Spike's beef was, that he was creepy. Yeah, he was creepy. He was showing up to events and things like that. He's being invited to these events somehow, and he's showing up, and he doesn't really say a whole lot, right? Like if you go, you can have a conversation with him, but he doesn't really say a whole lot. Justin, if you're watching this, I love you, man. This is, I want to, but he's a good kid. And OG Wade was so mad. And I told him, listen, dude, here's what you have to understand. And this is where it's coming from Spike, because Spike is a good person. And he really is. Spike is a good person. And sometimes you get too involved in the bit and you don't realize that outside of the bit, you're really hurting people. I've done it many times in my career, and it's cost me too. One time I had said that I was talking about something, and I'd said that he rode the short bus, because when I was in high school, my buddy his stepbrother he walked with crutches and things like that. So they took the smaller bus that has the lift so they can get on and everything like that. And I had a listener that emailed me and said, my son heard you say that. He's a big fan of yours, and he rides the short bus. And it was like a moment of clarity for me, to where I just can't say anything that I want unless I want to be comfortable with hurting people's feelings that don't deserve that. And it hit me hard, because he was a kid that I met, and I knew his father. They're from Willow Grove. And I was like, wow, like that's fucked up. You don't realize what you're saying. I was just making a joke about my buddy that used to ride the short bus. I wasn't trying to insult anybody, and I did. So sometimes you get so caught up in the bit that you don't realize that, it's just a bit, and you don't realize that you're, like you maybe take it a little bit too far. So what I said to OG Wade was like, listen, you have your podcast, you like messing around, you call in. OG Wade knows it's a bit. He does the list that he put on Twitter. OG Wade's awesome. He really is. Like, he understands. He was mad as hell because it was unnecessary what was said about Justin. And Spike's just trying to do good radio. And that's what I would say. That's what he got caught up on, because I didn't hear it. I'm just commenting on what everybody's told me. So, unnecessary. And I got OG Wade's back, but OG Wade called me. We had a good 20-minute conversation about stuff. I was asking him about Chuck. He said Chuck's starting to call in again, but he's normally calling in the midday show. But he occasionally calls Spike. I don't know if Black Gritty's back to calling. I know that him and Spike had falling out. Yeah. So that's that. So here's my question. This is obviously hypothetical. Sorry, I'm doing this with mucus again. So I don't know how many people are on there watching right now. It seems like there's been a lot of people watching tonight based on the numbers I'm looking at here. But let's just say that I do end up back on sports radio, which has been rumored and whatever. I was thinking about this tonight when I talked to Wade, and I didn't say anything to Wade. It's like, so what happens to my audience? What happens to my callers that I feel like are just as much my callers as anybody else? And yes, I plan on, if I do get back on the radio, I do plan on having a show that has a lot of personalities that call in, because that's what I do. And it's not going to be call after call after call, because that's what the topic is. It's going to be call after call of good callers. What do people do on TV that have mucus build up? I guess they go to commercial, huh? So, all right. So perfect example. Justin in Tennessee. If I work on a competing station, what happens to Justin in Tennessee? What happens to OG Wade? What happens to Chuck from Mount Airy? What happens to the regular callers that were my callers that I helped develop, the Marks and Reese callers? What happens to them? Are they calling me? Are they part of the show? Because guess what? If Radio Wars resumes, it's not going to be Radio Wars me against any individual at WIP, because I don't have a bad thing to say about anybody in management, on the staff, program director Rod Lake. I'm seriously, this is legit. I love everybody. People couldn't have been nicer to me. But I'm competitive, and there's got to be some gamesmanship here, right? So what happens to my callers? Right? Let me see. OG Wade. So OG Wade used to call. All right. See, like here's what I think. I think that they will call me, and they should call me. By the way, Herb won't stop calling me. And I guess he was at Spike, Ike, and Jack's show at Chickies and Pete's, because a girl that I went to high school with was sending me Instagram messages with pictures of Herb, because Herb's been calling me. Because the last time I streamed, I had texted Herb. Herb, the minute that the rumor was out there that I might be going to 97.5 The Fanatic, he's pitching himself to me. I don't know if people know this. Oh, Vince, Herb's going to call. Herb's going to call. So here's the Herb text message. All right. And immediately, I didn't even know that there was a rumor out there. He says, I heard you taking over for Missinelli. You still have this phone? Call me. I'm a top 5 caller on WIP. And then I didn't respond back to him until, actually, it's during the Eagles game. Hey, Herb. And then he He said, call me tomorrow. And then he called me that night, and then he called me the next day. So anyway, I think Herb's going to be calling. No, but seriously, it's something I was thinking about. Like, does the show, like, would the show be a lot of my old callers? Because here's what I realized from when I left 97.5 The Fanatic and I went to WIP, that there were a lot of 97.5 The Fanatic diehards that didn't go over with me. It wasn't until Mike kind of started losing it a little bit, and then ultimately when they got rid of Mike, and then everybody jumped, and they're like, oh shit, Marks, you and Ike are really good. You, Ike, and Jack are really good. And that's when we had record-breaking ratings. But even before that, you know, like, a lot of people are like, no, I've listened to Mike Miss for a long time. That's who I'm going to continue to listen to. So, but I also had a lot of the younger people. There's a reason why we were able to beat Mike as it was. I did have a lot of people that moved over with me to WIP. So I wonder if, because you have WIP to the core people that they're not calling in any other stations, or they're not going over to any other stations. And here's the thing, right? As much as they might like you, and I figured this out from doing the podcast, I would see people, especially towards the end of me working at PHLY, I'd see him at the grocery store or wherever. He'd be like, yeah, you still doing that podcast? Like, yeah. No, I never seen it. So they know I'm doing it. But really what they're telling me is, if you're on WIP, I love listening to you, but I'm not going to go start watching YouTube videos or listening to podcasts. So I still very much have the radio fan. It's people are like, oh, well, I heard you're doing a podcast. I don't listen to podcasts. And there were some people that came over and watched me on podcasts for sure. So I'm wondering if that same WIP listener that hasn't listened to The Fanatic or never listened to The Fanatic, how do I get them over to 97.5 The Fanatic? And I think how I would do that is I would do that by saying, like, hey, this is going to be a genuine show. There's not going to be disingenuous takes. There's not going to be negativity. I'm not going to be rooting against Jalen Hurts all year. I'm not going to be coming up with lists, not putting the Super Bowl MVP in a top 11 list. I'm not going to do fake take radio, because that's what's been happening. This is going to be like, this is it for me. All right. If I'm able to get another show, this is it. This is like my last. And I was talking to somebody that I used to work with, and I hope to work with again, at least in a part-time capacity. And I want one last run at it, and then I'll probably be done. But I want one last run, an all-in run where I go nuts. And like, that's what I'm looking to do. And doing a show, I'm very proud of every show I've ever been on. I'm very proud of what Ike and I did. It was a great show. I see people all the time that like, man, you guys had a great show. I'm like, totally, I agree. It was a great show. I want to do the best show that I've ever done, and have the best show I've ever done, period. I want the best show in Philadelphia. So if I get the opportunity to do that on radio, that's what I'm going to do. And it's not going to be like any other show, the fake take radio, the disingenuous stuff that you hear right now that I did at WIP, done. And that means I have to be entertaining if I'm not going to go back and forth on one particular topic and take phone calls the whole time. So I got a lot of work I have to do if indeed I'm back on the radio in Philadelphia. And I'll say that. So, like, listen, I love what Bill Colarulo and Ricky Bowe are doing. Bill is I'm not gonna say a close friend of mine, because I don't know him all that well. Other than been talking to him a lot in the last year since he started, a lot, and talking to him a lot recently. And I've been I'll say a mentor for him and helping him get in the business and giving him advice on stuff like that. But he didn't need my help, that's for sure. This dude's legit, and he's good. So, like the Fanatic Morning Show with JK and Andrew Salchunas, there's a lot going on with the station. And believe me, like the advantage with my show is I talk about the topics that people want to hear about, like Wawa bathrooms, my experiences there, almost knocking my neighbor out, couple weeks ago. I've had a lot of random things going on recently. So, no queue traffic, girl. No, I don't need that. You plus relatable ex-Eagle and a loudmouth producer equals success. That's funny, man. I mean, that was it. You're right. That's what you need. Now, ex-Eagle, it's probably not going to happen, at least to start. If I was to get a show, sure. Ike probably, no, check that. Not probably. Ike is the best ex-Eagle media personality in the city's history. I think John Ritchie's good. Hugh is very funny, but Ike has it all. He does. He has it all. And I'm glad they moved him back to doing post game on Comcast. He had stopped doing that, I think, in part because him and Michael Barkan stopped working together. If I remember correctly, maybe I'm off on that, but yeah, like Ike's legit, and that show will always be good. Will always be a listen because of Ike. I have a lot of people that tell me that, oh well, I like Spike pissing me off. I love Jack, but he's pissed me, but like I love Ike. And I think it's important that you do have an irritant on the show, and Spike a lot of times will be the irritant, or Jack. And I had to do the same thing. But yeah. So it's something I'm looking forward to. But I need the Vi and Gonzo. Vi and Gonzo was a pretty good show. But Vi was like Vi would be out in Utah a lot. He would just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to Utah for like the month. This is like towards the, well, I guess he was on TV for a while after that, but he would go, he would like, I guess he would pile all his vacation together. We'd go to Utah, and yeah, like he would be doing this radio show from Utah. And like, it was just, you know, I thought Vi and Gonzo was good. Sean Brace was the producer. That was a good show. What else do we have here? I didn't think, nothing against Jeremiah Trotter. And I love Trot. I think he's a good interview, but I think what a lot of ex-players realize is that going in on a Saturday afternoon and doing a radio shift in the middle of summer where you don't have anybody to talk, anything to really talk about other than BS, you know, like that's heavy lifting. It's real work. You're not on a roof, don't get me wrong, but that's not, you can just sit there. Like Hollis did it for a while. Right? Hugh did it for a while before he went to Atlanta. Ike did nights, Ike did weekends or whatever, but like Trot made too much money to be sitting in there on Saturday afternoon. Made too much money. Like people that thought that Jason Kelsey was going to host on WIP. Jason Kelsey obviously is not hosting on WIP. These new athletes that made a lot of money, who wants to do that unless like they're really, really into being the media guy? Because you can make a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But I can't imagine that any ex-athlete's going to be doing local sports radio with podcasts and stuff like that out there. So saw some, let me see here. Barroom style. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't expect a lot of, all right, well, after you give your Phillies point at the end of the call, give me your favorite movie that starts with the letter B. Like, I'm not doing that. That's boring, but I'll talk about bullshit. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Talk about everything. Like my fights with the PPA. You talk about life. You talk about sports. You talk about relatable subjects that everybody can appreciate. I know exactly what I want to do. I just have to be able to do it. I have to get the right people around me, and I got to build it. So I hope that that happens. I'll just say that. Hope that happens. So shout out to everybody. What else do we have here? And I saw Justin in Tennessee. He got off, but let me see. Oh, Black Gritty missed me. Black Gritty, I don't know what he was doing. So anyway, yeah. So what else do we have here? Anything else? Eagles. Trey Turner. I guess we can end with some. Phillies talk here, right? I don't know. Just like all beat up with the Phillies. That was an awesome. By the way, let me say this because I'm not even overly critical on Aaron Nola. I told everybody he was going to suck, and that he was Joe Blanton. He's closer to Joe Blanton than anybody else. And people got so mad at me. He looked great tonight. He had life on his fastball. Don't worry about the velocity as much as worry about his command and his movement. And he had that tonight. He got a lot of swings and misses. Velocity, like you're probably never going to see the Aaron Nola that you saw before, but can he be a competent 3 or 4 in a rotation? Yeah, that's what you hope for, at least at this point. And the velocity is not going to go up. I think he's been under 92. His average fastball has been under 92 this year. So not going up, but it's like he got to win tonight. So at least you're like, all right, if he needs to be a starter in the playoffs, he can be a starter in the playoffs. So that's definitely a possibility. Trey Turner's out. Trey Turner's leading the league in batting average. I see that today. I treat Trey Turner like batting average NL leader. I treat Trey Turner, I'm like, you know what I mean? NL batting average. NL. Oh, I put NF. Sorry. Let's see. Because I know Aaron Judge is hitting. Yeah, he's hitting 321. Nope. National League. Trey Turner at 305. Now, how is this possible? That there's one player in the National League right now that's hitting 300. Trey Turner at 305. Almost impossible. Holy cow. That's crazy, man. Crazy. But oh, there he is. Yeah, Black Gritty. I was texting you to see if you wanted to jump on. But now I'm already like, I've already talked myself out. I've been on for an hour or so. We'll have to do this later on this week. So I got a lot to talk about. But do they still use my text line open? If they do, my question is, if I was to go to another radio station, would the text line open be kiboshed? Yeah, they still do it. That's a good text line. The parody songs that I have in my head, I just have to find a parody song person. We got it. Yeah, Mad Mike will call me. What about you, Justin, in Tennessee? Huh? I know I'm putting some people in tough spots because they want to be loyal, but they want to be loyal. You think about the people that are good to you, genuinely good to you, right? That's me. I think Chuck from Mount Airy would tell you that. I know OG Wade would tell you that. Herb. I want to do a Herb from Northeast Philly Appreciation Day in like next summer. And we do our yacht rock theme. And everybody shows up to like Chickies and Pete's in Northeast Philly. And we do a yacht rock Herb from Northeast Philly Appreciation Day. And all proceeds benefit Herb from Northeast Philly. How about that? He probably needs it. Yep. Bernie for Broomall again. Why do you think Bernie got famous? Right here. I developed these callers. The Hall of Fame callers are me. Yep. All of it. There we go. Yep. You're absolutely right, Kevin. Yep. And that's what people, well, like, I'm not even going to be, call WIP and say my name like they used to do with Kid Chris. Kid Chris. When I was, my first job in radio, one of my first jobs in radio, I was producing, the morning show. Michael Bradley. It was Greg Henson and Glenn Foley. Then it was Michael Bradley and Glenn Foley. Meredith Marakovitz was the traffic girl / update person. And we didn't have caller ID on the phones. So you could call up and do whatever you wanted to. And I used to have, at the height of Kid Chris, I used to have people that would call in and try to get on the air and do the Kid Chris thing. So you would have like somebody would call and be like, I'm looking at the Eagles draft. I really like this kid Chris that you could draft out. And like Michael Bradley, I have no idea what he's talking about. And I would get rid of the caller and dump it. And then you would get the Baba Booey ones. One guy called up one time and said, I'm hoping the Phillies call up one of their prospects, Jackson Delabonte. He's really hitting well this year down in the minors. And I sniffed it out right away. I'm like, no, that's Gary Delabonte's Howard Stern's producer. That's his, so, but you didn't have caller ID. So this one dude used to call up and he would fake an Eagles point, and then he would just go, Kid Chris, Kid Chris, Kid Chris. Now, after a while, let's say a while, like an hour, you recognize their voice and you know what their strategy is. So then it's a cat and mouse game. He's disguising his voice. He's calling, he's trying to learn how to whatever. So yeah, and I told Kid Chris, I went on Kid Chris's radio show in Cincinnati, and I said it on the air about how I used to have every knucklehead in the city that would try to get on the air so they could say Kid Chris, Kid Chris. Well, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I don't think anybody's going to call up WIP and do that anyway. But Chris is still in Cincinnati. That's correct. He's on a classic rock station for iHeart. He's been out there for a long time. Chris is really, really talented. He's a hard worker. I thought he was really good here in Philly. Like obviously the racist stuff happened there at the end, but I don't think that's Chris at all. So yeah, I don't want that. And like when I say this, and I'll say it again, if I was to work at another radio station, I think Joe Giglio and Hugh Douglas have a great show. I think Afternoons has a great show. Mornings, everybody at the station, right? So there's not going to be me killing anybody. But I think WIP, the entity, and the bait hate and whatever Bill Colarulo calls it, and the fake take radio, as I call it, the disingenuous sports talk takes and talk that goes on all the time. I think they need to be held accountable for that. So that's what I have to say about that. WWE, we will not talk WWE. Although I have been in a great, since Hulk Hogan died on Instagram, I have been in this algorithm of the best 80s and 90s WWE and WCW stuff. Oh my God, man. Unbelievable. Great stuff. And by the way, not bashing WIP, but like I said, gamesmanship, right? Like sports radio is boring in this town right now. Doesn't need a little bit of spice in it. Doesn't need a little bit of an irritant to stir things up. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Classic rock station. Yeah, Spike was actually his. Spike was he was not the program director. He was like the APD on it or whatever. How do you find the audio of me on with Kid Chris? I'm not sure. We taped it as well, so I don't know how much he cut out of it or not. But yeah, I don't know if he, because when I brought it, I've talked to him about it before too when I've emailed with him, and I don't know if he takes great pride in the Kid Chris. It was funny to me. And the Kid Chris dude, I'll end on this because now I'm just diarrhea in the mouth. But the Kid Chris dude that used to call up and harass me. And then my intern, Betsy, who then later, Betsy Deming, she got hired. She got into engineering. She left a number of years ago, but I went to Temple with Betsy. She would be my board op. And then she would come in and she would kind of answer the phones. And then I wasn't, and he used to like call her a bitch and all this other stuff. But when I tell you that he called in a lot for a long time. So then he's not getting on the air. Really, he was just lonely. So he wanted somebody to talk to. And again, this is 7 o'clock in the morning. So I would talk to him, and I found out that he was blind. He was Puerto Rican, and he's like Vince's height. 6'7", 6'8", or something like that. He went to the Overbrook School for the Blind. And the one day he was calling in, and he would go on these binges where he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. And I'm trying to talk on the air. I'm trying to cut sound, and I got to answer the phone, and this asshole is just fucking with me. And I told him, I go, listen, not today. Hung up, called back. I'm like, dude, you want me to call the police and say that you're calling in bomb threats? He's like, I didn't call in a bomb threat. I go, yes, you did. He goes, well, what are you going to tell him? I'm going to tell him, well, it's a kid who's 6'8" and goes to the Overbrook School of the Blind, and he's Puerto Rican. You wouldn't be hard to figure out who it is. And he hung up. He didn't bother me the rest of that day. Really, he stopped bothering me. He stopped bothering me altogether because that was it. He was done. He was done. Yeah, I mean, I look at Herb as untapped potential. I really do. I'm sure he's being used very well currently, but he can't be used like I can because there's more than just his phone calls. There's a lot more that can be done with Herb, and it just needs to be done. He's a star for sure. I'm just hoping he stays healthy enough to be able to, because we lost a couple of the Philadelphia Sports Radio whack pack. And we need another name for it because all the Howard Stern people will get mad. Actually, you know what? No Howard Stern people will get mad because this show's so bad now. No one really cares anymore. But we can't lose any more of the Philadelphia Sports Radio whack packers. By the way, Howard Stern comes back today on the radio finally, and they do a prank where Andy Cohen comes on and says, well, it's my show. Howard's not coming back on the radio. And if there's one person in the world that actually thought that was funny or believed it, then I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't funny and it wasn't believable. I was just trying to get through it. I heard it on the replay. I was trying to get through it so I could hear what Howard had to say, and I couldn't even get through it. And I'm sure what Howard says, because he didn't say anything, really, is what I heard. So, yep. All right. I'm really going to go. Everybody, talk to you soon. But if you're still listening, subscribe to my YouTube page so I get more subscribers. I don't do this stuff well enough. Like, I need to do videos and subscribe and whatever. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. Whatever. All right, everybody. Later. Yeah, Stern still has a show. He was on today for the first time ever. All right. Later, everybody.